Hello Dio! Welcome to Roman's Random Riffs.
Roman's Random Riffs.
This channel is all about getting more creative on the beautiful instrument we all love so much. Today's video is for anyone who wants to take their songwriting game to the next level. You'll be learning how to read this amazing chord matrix, how to write in specific modes, and how to borrow chords. All to create amazing songs. I'm very excited to share this powerful knowledge with you, so let us begin. Here you see a wonderful chord matrix. And while it might look overwhelming at first glance, it's actually a goldmine of creative potential. So please bear with me here as I guide you through this matrix and how to use it. You won't regret it. Because once you learn how to read it, this chart will open up a whole new world for songwriting, improvisation and musical understanding. Let's break it down. Across the top row, from left to right, you see the 7 modes: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian and Locrian. Each vertical column represents one of these modes, and moving down each column you'll see all of the 12 keys. But here's something interesting. You might wonder, these keys are not listed in alphabetical order. And you're right. You won't see A sharp, B, C, etc. Instead, the rows follow the logic of the circle of fifths, a musical principle that organizes keys based on how closely they're related. It actually starts with C in the middle row, the key with no sharps or flats. From there, each row above it moves 1/4 down, adding a flat note. And each row below C moves a 1/5 up, adding a sharp note with each step. Structuring it in this way gives the entire matrix a harmonic flow that reflects how keys naturally connect, thus making it easier to explore modal relationships across different keys. And if you're wondering why you do see 2 different names appearing for the half notes instead of just flats and sharps like I mentioned earlier, that's because both names refer back to the same sounding note, the pitch. Raising A or flattening B ends up being the same note. There are theory rules about when to use which name, also based on the circle of fifths, but for now it doesn't really matter which one you choose, as long as you know which one you're hearing. Anyway, moving on, because we have a lot to talk about. Let's say we're working in E minor and we want to explore all the chords connected to that key. First we locate the Aeolian or natural minor column and then find E minor. Now follow that entire row from left to right, and those are all the chords that belong to the world of E minor or E Aeolian. Knowing this alone could be a game changer for a lot of you, because it gives you options to choose from if you ever get stuck with a progression or a song. Trying out a chord from the key you're in but haven't used already can be all you need sometimes. And it saves you from a search where you lose your initial idea. So with this matrix you'll be able to find every chord in every key. Let's quickly write a progression in E Aeolian. Let's say this is our verse section and we want to create a different part in the song, like a pre-chorus. All I have to do is introduce a new chord from the key and we could have the opening we're looking for. So let's try something different here. As you can tell, this is a very powerful and efficient way to experiment with different options during your creative process. But we're just getting warmed up here.
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
So let's dive back into the matrix. Besides our Aeolian mode, we have 2 extra minor modes available to us: Dorian and Phrygian. Now we just look for E minor in these columns to reveal the available chords. This gives us 3 rich modal contexts in which E minor could act as the home chord, all delivering their own unique flavors and emotions to create color, tension, movement, and ultimately songs. Let's put that into practice. Let me play you a little Dorian progression. Oh, whoopsie daisy, I'm playing a C major here instead of C sharp diminished, which would be a borrowed chord, so I'm getting ahead of myself here. Very sorry for that. And now this Phrygian one. As you can hear, these 2 modes are giving us some totally unique flavors compared to the natural minor one. Still with me? Great! Let me take you back to the Matrix for some other cool ideas. So far we've been approaching things from a minor perspective, using modes like Aeolian, Dorian and Phrygian. But just like there are 3 minor modes, there are also 3 major modes: Ionian, Lydian and Mixolydian. And they're usable just like I showed you with the minor ones a second ago. Each of these modes brings a different emotional color and work beautifully on their own, but they're also all connected in pairs. And this is where things get really interesting. You might have noticed that some modes share the same color in the matrix. Obviously, that's no accident. It means they're relatives. They're built from the same notes, just starting on a different root position. Let me give you an example of an E minor and a G major scale to show you that they share the same notes, but they just start on a different note. So E minor starts on E. And G major starts on G. So in that regard, they're bound by blood forevermore. Very cool. So we could say Ionian and Aeolian are relatives. Same goes for Dorian and Lydian. They're also relatives. As well as Phrygian and Mixolydian. So for example, wherever you find E minor and G major in the matrix, they're always relatives of each other. And this is true for every major and every minor chord. There's always a relative to it. Why am I telling you this? Well, it can happen that you're in a situation where you've written something that might feel too happy with a lot of major chords. Just swap one of those happy sounding major chords for its relative minor cousin and you'll immediately create much more emotional depth. It also works the other way around. Your progression feels too dramatic with too many minor chords. Well, just swap one of them for its major relative and you'll be sprinkling in some hope. You could even use it to write a more melancholic verse and a more optimistic chorus. Or you could write one part in a certain mode and another part in a different one. The possibilities are endless here, but let me give you an example anyway. Let's say we've written the following Phrygian progression. But I feel like that's too moody for my liking. I could swap one of the minor chords for its major relative. So let's pick D minor and swap it for F major. That hits different, right? So that's a super cool little trick. Now that we know how to find a key in the matrix, how to write progressions in a specific mode, and how to use the principle of relative chords, it's time to learn how to borrow chords from other modes. So let's get back to the goldmine and delve some new insights. Remember that we have 3 minor modes to work with. As you notice, some chords stay unchanged in all 3 modes. But some chords do change. That's where the magic of modal interchange comes in. Grabbing chords from neighboring modes to spice things up. Let's start in Dorian. Now we switch. Or starting in Aeolian. But now that's cool, right? But wait, there's even more! Let's get back to the Goldmine. Besides borrowing chords from other minor modes, we could also borrow chords from major modes. Let's say we're working in E minor again, but we look at E major for some borrowing options. Then we unlock a whole new set of options, starting in E Aeolian. Now borrowing. This borrowed B major gives us a bold and uplifting twist, and I absolutely love it. Feel free to experiment with this yourself, because not everything sounds equally pleasing. So you have to try things out in order to discover what types of chord connections you like and which ones resonate with you. To finish today's topic off, let's not talk about the elephant in the room.
The Locrian mode.
The one mode most people, including me, tend to avoid. As you notice, this mode is the single child in the family without any relatives. But that's its own damn fault for being such a weirdo. Well, of course it has a real and deeper reason, but that's something for another video, I think, since it would make this video unnecessarily complicated. For now, all you need to know is that it has no relatives, a diminished 1 chord, which is what makes it sound so weird and why it will never feel like home, and how to play diminished chords if you want to use it in a song. Because diminished chords can be really cool sometimes. I talk a little bit about diminished chords in this video though, so if you're interested, check it out after this one. Congratulations my friends, you've made it through the video! Yay! I'm proud of you. I know this was a lot of info and probably more than you should practice all at once. So feel free to rewatch the video and just pick one idea to explore. Write something and mess around, add some rhythm to your chords, and I promise you'll discover something you've never thought of before. Very exciting. I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think about this chord matrix in the comments. It would be very helpful if you would be so kind to like and subscribe. And I hope to see you in this cool video here, because it ties in perfectly with what we talked about today. So fare thee well, good fellers, fellerettes, and all who shan't be boxed like that. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Romance random.